Speaking a lot more broadly on the ideas that I've espoused going through this vlog, the main reason, like the very, very core reason why I tend to advocate for the idea of mastery, the idea of, sort of approaching some grand project, whatever that might be. It's not so much about even achieving, your highest potential, right? It's not so much about, not wasting talent. I think the main reason why people should be pursuing something or going after some sort of if you have the capacity to do it, some grand, lofty thing you're trying to achieve, whatever that might be. The reason for it is those that don't do that, the people that tend to not go for these sort of things, you subject yourself to a lot of emotional roller coasters. You subject yourself to a lot of the day-to-day challenges of life, and you sort of tend to kind of go about your days either viewing them positively or negatively based upon very flimsy sort of things. If you if you build your life around around just a day job, whatever that might be, and then going home and watching sports teams or video games or whatever, you're going to subject your emotions based upon these very, very kind of flimsy things of life, right? Like your sports team doesn't do well. Oh, you have a major emotional reaction, right? You don't win the championship. If they don't win the championship, you have this major emotional reaction, right? Your fantasy football team does bad this week. Well, you're going to be in a mood and a funk for a day or two now. The weather outside is miserable. All right, you're going to subject yourself to being miserable because of the weather outside. It's these very sort of out of your hands things that tend to dictate your mood and your attitude towards your days. On the opposite side of that, I think when you start going after something a bit more lofty, those things tend to matter less. Your emotions are much more tied to how well you yourself are progressing on something. And yeah, you see me get frustrated on days with my projects and all that stuff for sure. But it's always based around things that are in my control, right? When you go after something, when you base your emotions on these grand lofty ideals, they tend to be based around your control. You are ultimately responsible, but your actions also tend to dictate a lot more of your mood. If if you're stuck on a project, well, okay, good. You get frustrated, whatever. That's on you to fix. You didn't let some external thing affect you, right? It wasn't that some TV show had a bad finale that you enjoyed, now you're all like, what, I wasted my hours and hours of watching that. It's all right, I'm stuck right now and I gotta find a way to fix it, right? It goes back to you, it puts more ownership on you, and it stops you from having that up and down sort of relationship basically with these minor things of your life. And it's helpful. It's helpful to come back to that. It's helpful to have that thing to come back to. I'm very happy that I've had some rough days, away from the keyboard here these past few days. So I've had some rough days, and it's been good to come back to the keyboard. It's good to know that it still exists, that this keyboard is still here, that I can go back to these projects, that as I go through some of these day-to-day challenges, kind of away from my projects, it's good to know, take a step back and go, okay, yeah, these things are terrible, they suck, but my book's coming along really well. Like that is powerful. To have that experience, to be able to to shrug off these sort of experiences, it's not some easy feat. There are people that get crippled by a lot of the more general whims of their days. And so as you go through this, as you kind of maybe contemplate starting on some grand project, understand there's a benefit to it. There are benefits beyond just getting the project done. And for as much anguish as you might go through with these projects, it inoculates you against those day-to-day challenges. It inoculates you against the emotional reactions you might have. It helps you establish more of just a baseline emotional reaction to things. And within that, that is where you get the real payoff. It's not always about what you produce or even living up to this sort of higher ideal. It's about being able to go through your days with a sense of, I won't say calmness, but a sense of understanding that the small things that you face do not matter. It's been said, it's a cliched phrase, but you understand that. You get a certain framework, you get on an emotional level what that means, and you actually can apply it when you have something else you're working towards, when there's something else in your mind, not just the sort of small whims because you got stuck in traffic and were late for work, you couldn't find a parking space, etc. The other thing that's in your mind, that bigger project, that thing that you're constantly thinking about, that thing that you're driven, that dream that you have, that is what keeps those other emotions, those lower level emotions at bay. And so, one more time, if you are going through this process, if you're considering going through this process, this is the real superpower. This is the real reason why you should be doing it, in addition to the other things, obviously. But this is it. To be able to go through your days with that sort of security, that is the highest, really, really one of the highest benefits you'll ever get from this process.